Hi, Aaron. How are you doing?
Good. How are you, Scott?
Doing wonderful. Your office looks so bright. It looks great.
You know what we just had installed today? We had one of those photo things that all the different color paper you can bring down, like you roll it down or whatever. It's really cool in one of our studios. So yeah, it's going good. How are you? Long time no
Doing
see.
Yes, Aaron and I just had lunch with Evardy Construction.
How we did.
Uh, Hopefully, our bosses are not watching. Rachel and Chris. Brian was able to make it, but we had a fun time.
Why do you not want them to watch?
I just feel like they're going to punish us, and we're going to get in trouble. We're going to have
That's
to
so
do
weird.
we have to do like 20 push-ups, and like it's going to be bad.
That's weird that you feel like that because I don't feel like that at all. They're
I
really, really
don't feel that. I'm just joking. Just joking.
oh.
Yeah, this is the banter for the show where we tell the real reason why people are here is to hear our guests that are about to be coming on. But we banter. We talk about Evardy Construction and Bestway International. So, one
Can we
cool thing. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead with your lineup, but I've got something to talk about.
Yeah, no, I was so today we were at lunch. We didn't realize all the cool projects Evardy Construction was doing. Olathe Ford, the buckle was one of the things. Obviously, they do a lot of work.
From the mall, the buckle. They go, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if we're allowed to say. We got to ask them, but it's a pretty big hospital here in town that they have an amazing relationship with. So they do it all. But Aaron, didn't mean to cut you off. What are you feeling?
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, I didn't know they were working on so many projects. And by the way, I didn't also know, this is really cool that I learned at lunch, that Olathe Ford, the one in Gardner, is an RV one, and you can rent RVs from there and live your
Yeah.
own RV life. So I thought that was really cool. I want to talk about something that I think is really cool. Did you watch the Lakers game last night?
I did not. I've been since the Chiefs lost. I don't like looking at sports right now.
Okay, well,
I don't watch the game.
okay. Anyway, so it was Luka's first time playing, and he was really nervous to play. And have you seen what LeBron says to him? And by the way, I think everybody knows this. Me and LeBron got in a fight when I was 21, and I haven't forgiven him. So I am not a LeBron fan. For me to say this is cool is actually really cool. Okay. Did you see what LeBron said to him?
I did not.
I just think it was really awesome. So Luka, if you're not familiar, then I don't know where you're living. But if you're not familiar, Luka got traded from the Mavericks, wasn't expecting a franchise player. So he hadn't been nervous for a game in a really long time because, but to play with LeBron and the Lakers, he was a little bit nervous. And I think part of that is he is from, he's not from here. He came over here to play basketball. And so he was just nervous. And he told LeBron, I don't know how I'm going to fit in with this team because the Lakers are like, the Lakers. And LeBron said to him before the game last night, don't fit in, fit the F, because we can't cuss, out. And I just thought that was the best quote ever because he pretty much just told him to be himself and who cares. And he had an insanely great game and he looked very happy after the past week of looking really confused at why he got traded and sad. And so I'm going to start living by that quote more. I just loved it.
Ooh, I like it. Well, you are a tough survivor and you have something new. Curveball hits you every day. You feel you've been living that way for a long time.
I just thought that was really cool. So don't fit in, fit the F out. That's my new life saying. I'm going to get it on a shirt. Probably.
I love it. Yes.
To be honest with you. So, all right. Well, yeah, I'm sorry about the Chiefs loss, but you know what's awesome about the Chiefs loss?
What?
Is that one, we get to try again next year, right? And so if we make it to the three-peat again, they can't hate on us. Two, I think it's showing how humble our team really is because people always hate when you're at the top, right? They always hate. And we're seeing a lot of stuff come out about how humble they've been through this whole thing and supportive. And then three, it's on to baseball season and the Royals are supposed to be pretty good this year.
It's exciting. It's exciting. Lots of moving parts, but we want to hear about the audience. We want to hear about the guest, Aaron Fulk.
All right. Well, let's talk about Bestway a little bit.
Well, if Bestway International would have been helping move the Chiefs to New Orleans to keep them calm and organized, they would have been doing really, really well. But a lot of things are going on with tariffs right now. And I don't think you knew this, but Bestway International is right here in Kansas City. They have 3 offices, one that's really close to the airport, but they are experts. So if you have any questions, concerns about moving product into America, you got someone to talk to. Let us know and we'll connect you directly to them.
You can also go and watch. They've got Cargo Cafe once a month on their LinkedIn channel. And the last one they did, you can watch the replay, and it is all about tariffs. So if you have questions on that, you can go watch that. All right. If you are watching, please let us know you're watching. If you're watching live or the replay, we are trying to figure out who all watches this live. I can always see the numbers. There's quite a few of you. Also, are you watching from LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube? We'd love that. So, all right. Well, I'm done talking. Let's bring in other people. How do you feel about that?
Let's dance.
Let's dance. Okay. Let me find World's Worst Music. All right. Our first guest is Rylan and the worst music of all time. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Hey.
We're just going to jump right into it. Rylan, who are you? What do you do? How do you get to Kansas City?
Rylan Fisher, born and raised here in Kansas City. Went to Nashville for 5 years or so. Did the whole music thing throughout high school. That transitioned into college alongside a degree at the University of Belmont. Did that. COVID-19 hit, and what else happened? Then the world shut down. So came back home, trying to figure out what was next. Actually, Scott was one of the first guys I met with, and he was like, "Don't work with your family." And I was like, "Okay, I won't do that." So started paving my own way, and somehow ended up in the risk strategy world, very similar to Mr. Havens there. So yeah, kind of short and sweet. Recently got engaged as well. So getting married here in October. So I'm very excited for that. But yeah, that's how I got back to Kansas City.
Wait, what did you go to Belmont for?
I went for finance.
Belmont is one of the top art schools in the whole, like music schools. People die to get into that school.
That's right. And people are always confused when I say I went for finance.
I thought you said that. That's how I was trying to, because Belmont is one of those that right now we're going for a BFA and people are, that's top of everybody's list. So that's
I know. Just being in the Nashville scene was great though.
Yeah.
So Rylan, I mentioned don't work with family right out of school. Your family is amazing. But talk a little bit about the problems you help your clients solve and things that you're doing with them to help them be better.
Yeah. So a little niche I've kind of carved out recently that we've talked about is in the restaurant industry. A lot of those servers, if you will, have to rely on the marketplace. So we've been able to find affordable employee benefit options for that restaurant industry. So that's kind of been a little focus, but it's more of a comprehensive one-on-one forming those benefits around the client rather than the one-size-fits-all mold that we're typically thrown into with that fully insured model on the health benefits side. So yeah, I focus on that as well as the commercial property and casualty side. So similar blueprint model is what we call it. So it's a little 3-step meeting process, and yeah, it's good to tailor to your clients.
And what instruments did you play when you were in Nashville? And you still play to this day, but what instruments?
I do, yes. So mainly guitar. I can dabble with the bass, dabble with the keys, and I'd like to get better at the drums.
You know you're good when you call it the keys.
The keys, that's right.
My son plays all 3 of those. That's why I would know all about the Belmont.
Love that.
Awesome. Those skills will take you very far. And it's fun to be at happy hour and be able to the one that sits down and plays, right, Scott?
I know.
All right, Sean, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Awesome, appreciate it. That's a big tough to act. First off, Aaron, just one thing quickly. It's my 3rd time on the show. Production quality has gotten better I can tell business is good every year, a little bit better tech, a little bit better stuff. So big ups to you on all this.
Like
You
Saturday
deserve
Night
every
Live,
second
we
of
have
it.
a jacket for you. You get a 3-timers jacket.
I'm like, it's me, Paul Rudd, Steve Martin, and maybe somebody else. I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, my name is Sean Kennedy. I'm a CPA by trade, sometimes by default. It's my story is not interesting as Rylan's. I'm with Adams Brown CPA Advisors here in town. We are a CPA firm, full service, audit, tax, consulting, wealth management, IT services as well, and focusing on lower middle market, privately held companies. And we'll launch into more of that in depth here in a little bit. But that's our bread and butter, what our core competency is. And how I got to Kansas City is pretty boring in the fact that I was in graduate school in 2008. And for those of you that might be a little bit younger than myself, 2008 was not a fun time to be looking for a job. There's this whole thing called the crash and all the things and all the fallout with it. So my options were limited. Not that I was looking beyond Kansas City, but it was really one of those, hey, I'd love to go work somewhere else, but had some good offers in my lap in my backyard in Kansas City. I'm from Wichita, Kansas originally, but knew I was going to end up there eventually, professionally afterwards. So that was, good Lord, that was 16 years ago and haven't left since. And I've loved it. This is now home. My wife's from here. Our family is here. Our inner circle is here. Our community is here. And we don't plan on leaving anytime soon.
Sean, what is the part of your business that makes you the most happy?
Really, it's working with the right people. You know, this is our industry is in a unique spot where we have making some serious changes, a lot of activity going on. There's the presence of AI, there's better tech, there's better platforms, better automation. A lot of it is necessary, but it really comes down to people want to do business with people. And one of the most important things that I've learned is there's value beyond just the math and the numbers and the performance and the metrics or the savings. There's value in being an advocate, value in developing trust, and valuing partners along the way. The right clients to work with are the ones that they pay for value, not for costs. And those are the ones that are fun to work with. They're the ones that call you, ask for your advice, they value your feedback, they're held accountable, and it goes both ways. So really, it's pretty simple, Scott. It's those are the groups that we want to work with and work with as much as we can.
I like it. I was thinking you're going to talk about managing all these young Gen Z folks that don't know about the crash, but I know that's not the case. So Rylan, pivoting to you, what is the most pivotal point in your career thus far?
I would say it's when I probably cold calling for 3 years straight, building that thick skull, knowing that that's not where I wanted to be forever. Yeah, doing that and being resilient through it all, building that rapport with clients, even through the phone, that made it very difficult. Most pivotal would be jumping over to the deep end of the insurance world, right? And it's going 100% commission based and jumping in the deep end. And I'd say this last 2+ years has been the most pivotal for myself.
Now, to young people that are out there about cold calling, did you dread it or did you really, really like just love it and get after it and enjoy it?
Both. Yeah. I knew I needed to do it. I knew it was good for me. But I did dread it. And there were times where I'm never going to do this again. I'm going to hang up my headset, never going to touch it again. But it was very rewarding. And I'm glad it's behind me.
Did you ever play the numbers game? I always played the numbers game when I had to do it, where I would be like, I know, like the numbers show me by this many calls, and then I just try to get to that many calls. Yeah.
More calls, the better.
Right.
Yep.
What is your favorite? Do you have, I guess, what's your number one favorite cold calling trick that you kind of leaned into and you're like, this works every time. Like when I do this, my, stuff goes way up. What's your number one cold calling trick?
Yeah, it could be a little slimy, but I'd say that someone else in the company told me to reach out to them.
I like it.
A lot of the times they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Tom, I love Tom. Don't take your call." So
Yeah, I wasn't smart enough. I'd be like, Tom hasn't worked here in 3 years. Like, oh yeah,
me and Tom go way back. So
yeah. And today, how do you think cold calling helped you improve your business today?
yeah, I mean, just comfortability on the phone, right? They as in the clients or the prospects, they understand if you know what you're talking about, and like what we were talking about earlier, it's relationships. People want to do business with people they're friends with, they like, they trust, they know. So it's being able to build that confidence through the phone, even if it's not a first initial meeting in person, is huge. Very, very rewarding.
I love that. I also wanted to show you this. Jeffrey is a percussionist.
Love that.
Yeah, Jeffrey. So, Sean, what is the most pivotal point in your career thus far?
Aaron prepped me on this, and I've been struggling to find like some sort of defining aha moment.
You can do multiple.
So I honestly, I would trace it back to college and just deciding as a junior going into my senior year to change majors and go into accounting. My dad was like, we can't cuss on the show, Aaron. So it's like, what are you doing? There were some other words doing. And I said, I kind of like these classes and I think it fits. And I talked to the professor and he laid out that your career is not just limited to tax or crunching numbers. You can do whatever you want to do with it with the foundation you had. And that's held true. And the funny thing is, a year later, my dad came to me and said, wow, I started a company since you went to school. And like, every time my CPA gives me the bill, I don't even look at it. He's been so helpful and a big resource to me. Like it was a change of heart, like, no, do this. So getting that buy-in, knowing that I was developing a good baseline was important. But in terms of pivotal moments, Scott, it as you all know and have done your different paths with your career as mine, what I always lean back to is I'd say 75 to 80% of the good decisions that I make are the product of past failures or mistakes. Either I made myself or I saw someone else do. It is not, hey, this is a good idea. It's, hey, I watched someone or something happen that wasn't right. This is why it didn't work out. Let's accept it, acknowledge it, but try to do something different. And so it's learning from history, learning from mistakes, learning that, oftentimes a great idea is the product of several failed ones is very important. And what that also does is creates a level of humility. With Rylan and myself, I do a lot of my own sales and I'm tasked with leading a group and doing business development work. And a little bit unique in that we can't cold call. It's not effective. And so our mantra is the key to sales is don't sell. It's if you start selling yourself, I have a saying that if they're in the restaurant, you don't even tell them how great the food is. You got to figure out what they want to order. So it goes from being able to try to pitch something to just understanding who they are, what they want, and how you can execute along the way. And that's been a much more successful outcome versus just trying to throw things at a wall. So I'd say really just again, keeping back to understanding your foundation, your skill set, the people, the situations, and that don't fail to learn to fail. And that will end up creating a lot of good things on the long run.
You should write a quote.
Yeah, this is a really good quote. Sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
I just said he should write a quote book. He had like 3 in it.
So I was going on the same vein. So I was with Sean the other week and he said something that was amazing. And I was like, did you already know that or did you think of that? And he's like, no, I heard it. But to be fair, Sean thinks of a lot of things on the fly. So you got to ask him, is that original content?
It's typically infringed, but every now and then I got my own.
You got your own
content while we're just hanging out. That's wild. That's funny. I would push back a little at you, Sean, just that I believe that you said you don't sell, but we're always selling. We're just selling a different way than cold calling.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. There's different approaches and there's different outcomes. And to be clear, there's cold calling is a skill. It is a skill. It's a skill that I don't possess. I have never possessed. I'm envious and I'm impressed by those that can do it very, very well. There are different channels and different approaches to different situations. in my industry, though, like that is a channel that's proven to be unsuccessful. So you have to resort to other scenarios. And one of those scenarios, again, learning from failure, learning from success, is like in that it's people are more impressed with in our stakeholders. I mean, we're working with executives, CEOs, VPs, board members. These are C-level professional people. They sell for a living. Like you don't have to, you don't try to convince them. They reached out to you. So it just comes down to, do they trust what you're going to say? And they trust that you're going to be able to execute along with that process.
Yeah. Your industry, that trust piece is the biggest piece. Awesome. Okay. Rylan,
Yes.
what are your 2025 goals and how can the Kansas City community help you get there?
Love that. Deepen probably personal connections throughout the community. Love people, love doing business through referral. All our businesses are that way, right? So I think also knowing less is more, not needing to sell as much and listen, sit back. People love talking about their things in life. So really just listening in on that is going to be huge. And then, I'd like to give back to the community a bit more as well. So whether that's getting a part of volunteering more, or, getting on a board, something like that. So I don't know what that looks like, but keeping my eyes and ears open.
I do have a question. So with your
Yes.
benefits, do you have a minimum employee level, a minimum number of employees you work with?
She's asking for a friend.
She's asking for a friend. I love that.
She's asking for her business.
Yeah.
No, I'm not just asking for my business. I'm asking for a lot of small businesses reach out to me all the time because not a lot of people in benefits will help if you just have a few employees. If you're a small business.
Right. Yeah. We're not gonna be able to do much less than 25. We will. It's a per case basis, but yeah, typically more than 25 or more than 50 lives is gonna be best where we can start getting creative.
Cool. Just since you said that earlier about the like servers and stuff like that.
Yeah, we can get very creative with that. We created our own package called Bistro Benefits, so it's been very successful.
That is awesome, Ron. But Aaron and Sean, there are cool technology products that are coming out that are better than what folks like Rylan and I can do in our industry.
That's right.
So Rylan, how do you figure out, because there's a lot of failure and there's a lot of, we talk about cold calling. How do you figure out when you're like, this isn't going to work, but be optimistic enough to keep trying?
Yeah. I found very early on, I'm not similar to Sean, cold calling is not in my industry proven very successful. So I've been doing a lot more warm calling, warm introductions, and using AI technology. I feel like if I and many of us don't get on that train, we're gonna be left behind. So really jumping in that straight into the deep end and being a sponge has been proven well.
And how can just people reaching out for volunteer opportunities and wanting to meet you and stuff, that's how Kansas City can help you?
Yeah, just wanted to deepen connections, get to know as many people as I can, C-suite level executives.
Best place to reach out, LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn's great.
Perfect. All right, Sean. How are your 2025 goals going, and how can the Kansas City community help you?
So this is pretty simple for me. And sorry, there's got some workers in my house here. It's pretty simple for us, and I'm shameless. We are looking to expand our referral network and our visibility in this market as much as we possibly can. We've been strategically focused in the last couple of years as a firm that's only been in the market here for, less than 10 years. And while that seems like a long time, it is a very young time in the CPA space, especially recently. So we've been focusing on building our team, building our core competencies, building our infrastructure. It's being patient before we go to market so that we know that we can execute and drive value and really build good relationships along the way, and also be good two-way referral partners on the back end. So we're there. We're getting there. We are there in many situations. So now it just comes time to reach out to the right networks. Those are going to be your attorneys, it's law firms, it's bankers, it's going to be investment bankers, anyone involved in the M&A space, outsourced CFOs. And we serve to complement those individuals, along with anyone on this chat that's going to be. I'm going to call these are your entrepreneurial types. I call them walking job security. They own a couple companies, they own a building. They are always doing something. They always want to call. They're the first. We're always one of the first calls that they make. Just to talk about something. Those are the situations that we thrive in and that we love to help with. Those are fun for us. So if that fits your profile and if that's something that they want to do, or someone's looking for new channels, then here we are. And again, I said, we're shameless. We're happy to help, happy to meet, and love to see if we can work together and connect on the back end.
You know, Sean, Aaron and I would charge you a happy hour if Rylan starts calling on all your Western Kansas restaurants and you guys develop a solution to make a bunch of money with each other. We charge a happy hour for it. But one thing I think is unique that is something a lot of people don't know is you have a really deep breadth and expertise in forensic accounting. So are there any interesting facts for the audience of what not to do if you're trying to hide a crime?
Yeah, just don't.
Be careful.
Just don't cheat.
No, don't commit crimes.
Like just don't commit crimes. Like, you're gonna get caught.
Yeah.
Aaron, remember our conversation offline before, and it's similar.
Yeah.
Just you're gonna get caught. Like the tech is there. It's so you're not gonna get away with it. You're just not gonna get away with it. It's not a matter of if, but when. And I used to always laugh. I'm like, even like in undeveloped countries, like when you're bribing someone, like don't even do, like, that's typically a more common practice. Just don't do it. That's my advice. Cause like you're going to get caught, and it's stupid, and it sucks in the back end. And sorry, Scott, I'm on a tangent.
No, I just thought it was hilarious.
I'm like, what are you doing? Just don't, you're going to get caught.
I think it's always interesting for the audience, because sometimes we talk about boring stuff and then we're like, how to get away with crime. Don't do it.
Yeah.
It's like drunk driving. You may not get caught the first time, but like that 10th, 11th time you do it, you're going to get caught eventually. So just don't.
Right.
It's always funny to me when like famous people do it, because like, of course, everybody knows who you are, right? Like, why did you think you were going to get away with it? It's so crazy.
And that's why they think they can because of who they are. It's I'm above this, or I can do this because no one's going to care. I'm like, no, they're going to find you. And it is
Or
what
when
it
they
is.
win a reality show and then they decide not to pay their taxes on it. I'm like, everybody saw you win the money. You can't do that. So.
I know Michael Jordan's son the other day got a DUI charge, and in the video it was, I'm Michael Jordan's son. I'm just trying to get home. It's like, okay, buddy.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's what we're going to leave you with is don't do it. But do reach out to Sean. Sean, is the best way to reach out to you LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Okay, so LinkedIn for both Rylan and Sean. So make sure that you go follow them and reach out to them and grow your network. I want to thank both of you guys so much for being here today. I want to thank Scott. Thanks so much for being the best co-host ever. Thank you to Evardy and Bestway International for being the best sponsors. And we will see you same time, same place, hopefully less snow next week. Everybody stay safe tomorrow, okay? And go to the grocery store tonight. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.